Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Right, it is Thursday. I don't even know what day it is. Good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco, coming to you this morning from Lincoln, Nebraska, on our way back to Connecticut. So it's our first of our 3 stops before we return to Connecticut. So good morning. It's dreary here, but it's about 70 degrees and it's comfortable. And I am your, I don't know, what am I? I am your authenticity teacher, speaker, coach, specializing in mindfulness and transformation. I'm your fat eviction specialist. I am your soon-to-be author, chiropractic physician, and that's it. And weary traveler. Weary, I'm tired.
Yeah, it gets to that. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita. My internet seems to be like slow motion. I am your spiritual and creative healing life coach. You're wet and efficient, your notary, your writer, author, artist, and soon to be your end of life doula. I am magically orgasmic. I am your gladiator guru, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
Good morning. And where are you today? Weary. You're also a traveling fool. You're a traveling fool. You're home. You're home. You're in Florida?
No, I'm home. My home is always Connecticut.
Oh, really? See, yeah. I can't wait for my home to be somewhere else.
I've lived in California. I've lived in Miami. I've lived in Orlando twice. And the longest I've been out has been in Tampa. That is, in September, will be 15 years. But home is Connecticut. But my true home is Bridgeport, Connecticut. But I am in Shelton, Connecticut this morning at my sister's house. I returned from Puerto Rico on Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, I was on a flight here to Connecticut until next Wednesday. So I'll be here home. I have an event on the 17th. I think that's Saturday with Carmen Nieves.
Oh, nice. What kind of event is it?
It's like on gratitude. It's a group of women coming together. Oh, so nice. I'll be attending that Saturday morning. So I'm excited for that. And just, you know what? I'm just excited to be able to travel. I'm excited to be in Puerto Rico with my family, my grandkids, and my daughter and son-in-law. And then now being home with my sisters and my son and Savannah, who I was with last night.
Aww.
And then when I get back home to Florida, it's about hitting the grind. It's not traveling for that whole month in August and getting everything at the starting line, because I am grateful. And I am grateful, and I'm grateful for many things. I'm for my health, for my wealth in my health, and for my imagination. We want to be inspired and motivated, and it all starts with imagining, having this wild imagination and seeing yourself in it. Like when you read a book and you're there with the character, when the book ends, you feel so sad because you're not going to be with them no more. I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel when I read a good book.
No, listen, I do. And the funny part is I'm not really a big fiction reader. So I'm a nonfiction person, but when I do get into a fiction book, and I remember, and I'll let you finish because I just had to interject, I don't read that much fiction. So when I get into it, And the first book I read in a long time was The Hunger Games. And I remember, and see, I didn't know anything really about it. I didn't watch the movies. I read the book, and I didn't realize it was 3 parts. So I get to the end of the book. I'm like, what? And like that's how dumb I was. Like, not dumb. I purposely didn't want to know anything about it because I wanted to like really be in the moment. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And like, so then I went online. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 2 more books. I'm like, I'm ordering both books at the same time because I am not going to be hung on the second one and not get the third one, you know? So yes. So go ahead. You were saying that like you missed
Well,
the
just
characters.
the invocations of ideas, of stimulating your mind, is by going back to that inner child and dancing in your imagination, and how you would look like in a ball gown, or dressed like Wonder Woman, whatever it takes that's going to ignite something within you. And so the first night I arrived in Puerto Rico, I just felt it. I just been like on a roll with it. The ideas been flowing, the motivation of me, like, just because I am, was motivation enough for me. But sometimes we have to remove ourselves from where we are in order to realize who we are.
Oh
Because
yeah.
when you're stuck in the same blah blah blah, that's how you're gonna feel. So you need
That's correct.
to go have like an affair with yourself somewhere different, and put things into perspective. And that's what I found. Oh, good morning, my beautiful sister. I'll see you soon. Kimberly Sanchez. Hola, mátame. So yeah, so that's what happened to me on my short little stint. But sometimes it doesn't take a whole year of something to just plug yourself into yourself. Sometimes it can take a day. Sometimes it's you strolling the beach, feeling the sand between your toes, and then coming home and feeling refreshed. So sometimes we just got to do it. Just do it. Just remove yourself from where you're at all the time, and then come back to it, and you'll see things differently. The colors are more vibrant. The house looks prettier. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful in my life at this right now where I'm at.
Well, and I think, you know, you brought up a good point. I think we should always be grateful. And it's hard sometimes when we're in a place where we're like just not where we want to be, and we're frustrated. So it's the gratitude piece is always a really, really important piece, which is so fabulous that you're saying all this, because, you know, it is proven with research that gratitude literally changes your brain. If you are really in a really bad state and you're not in a good mood, if you just close your eyes and think about what you're grateful for, it actually shifts. It shows it in your brain. And so we are nothing but energy. Like, so having Michelle on this morning is going to be a fabulous conversation. So gratitude is a big shifter of energy. But it is challenging when you're stuck in your own place, and you're not clear, and you're frustrated, and then you just keep wallowing in it, and you don't mean to. You've tried everything to get yourself out. Stepping away from your environment is a really big thing, and that was part of the reasoning for me to go on this trip or tour or what journey, whatever you want to call it, you know. But and the funny part was, my intention was to share things every night and like talk about insight. And the funny part is, I did it like one night out of the 3 weeks, one night. And I got a little frustrated, probably like a week in, going, you know, I'm so pissed off that I'm doing this. Like I said I was going to do this, but I just couldn't. It didn't feel right. Like I was sometimes so exhausted by the end of the day that I did not feel like getting on camera, and I had nothing to say. Like there was nothing there, you know? So I let that piece go, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to get frustrated with myself. I'll do it all when I return, share the insight of what I learned about myself and what I learned on the trip, and do it in a format where I'm sitting somewhere where I'm really thinking about it, and not, because let me tell you, driving takes a lot out of you. You know, it really does. And I love driving, don't get me wrong, but you don't realize how much driving you do, because just to get from point A to point B, you know, most of the stints were 7 hours, you know, and then you get there, and it's not like you're just going to hang out in your hotel room for the 3 days. You're going to, or 5 days, or whatever days you're there, you're going to like explore. So it's like, okay, so we drive over here for another 2 hours, and we drive over here for an hour, and then we drive over here for 30 minutes, and then 4 hours, you know? So it's like, oh, I'm like tired already, you know? So yesterday we left Colorado to come to Nebraska for our first stopover to go home. And it was supposed to be like a 6.5 hour drive. It ended up taking us an extra hour and a half because we had to stop a couple times. But it was the longest, like even the kids and I, we all felt it. It was a really long drive, like longer than we had expected. And, you know, I've actually expected it to be that way because we're going home. See, like when you're headed towards your destinations, you're excited, you know, your energy's there, your adrenaline's kicked in. But now that we know we're going home, the energy has shifted. You know, there's the energy of wanting to get back home. There's the energy of it's ending, you know. And for me, it's that's the piece for me. Because even as tired as I am, I would have loved to have kept going. But I would love to be in the RV doing it. Like if I'm going to do it, like keep going, it's not in the car. But the kids, like they're ready to go back, you know, they're ready to go back home, plant their feet, do their thing and connect back with their friends and blah, blah, blah. So the energy is really kind of low in the car. And it was felt yesterday for sure. So,
which makes for a longer ride.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because yeah, it makes for a longer ride. And when they switched our flight from 4 something in the afternoon till 1 something. So we had to board at 12:45 on Tuesday. And we were 2 hours away, 2 hours and something. We were on the other side of the island. So that's why I filmed in the car. So we get there early enough. We get like the restaurant couple, you know, stops before our gate. So we go in, I have my coffee, my hot water. And while we're sitting there at 12:20, we get an alert that the plane is going to be delayed till 5 o'clock. Like why couldn't we get that alert?
And you rushed there. You rushed there early just to
make sure we were there. And so we're like, yes. So we already turned the rental. And so the whole day that we could have spent exploring San Juan, closer to the airport, was gone. Then we're sitting there and we're like, okay, we got to make the best of it. And then they go and they send another alert that it was delayed till after 6. So mind you, we were supposed to arrive in Tampa at 4:30. We didn't arrive at Tampa till like 10:15 p.m. So
big energy shift.
Those 4 hours that I was gonna get home and do this and that and go was just non-existent. Because by the time I got home, all I wanted to do was take a shower, get in my comfy clothes,
right?
And chill, because the next day I had to fly out here with the 4-year-old. Because I brought my great nephew to be with my sister, who's his grandmother. Oh, but he was good. He fell asleep, you know, my kind of traveler, fell asleep until like 30 minutes before we landed. So that's how that was. But you still got to have gratitude. And if anybody knows, in my paintings, I'm always painting the gratitude symbol. When I painted my art room floor, when you walked in, it was the hugest gratitude symbol. In my sanctuary, I have 2 gratitude symbols, the round one, and then I have one in the angel language. That's like a weird symbol, but it's all symbols of gratitude. Always had that, because without it, who are we? We got to be grateful for when you reach for that water bottle and it's room temperature, which I love, but people complain. It's water, drink it, because there may come a time where it's not going to be that easily accessible to us. So right. I just think just to be grateful that we can get up, that we can speak our minds. Look at Cuba. Right. You know, everybody, say a prayer for Cuba and whatever we can do, because that's just wrong. It's not about what your nationality, you know, what politics. It's not any of that. It's about being human. And that's somebody's mother, grandmother, sister. Those are somebody's children that are being swiped up. The teenagers are being swiped up off the streets and forced into the military as we speak. So a prayer goes out to Cuba. Yesterday, I was listening to Mr. Worldwide, because, you know, he's Cuban. And he says, I'm not here to talk about politics because it's all politricks. And I just thought like that was like so real.
I did. That's fabulous.
So, I mean, just be grateful for where you're at. And if you're not where you want to be, then it's up to you to work to get there, and do it with joy in your heart. Because if we do it with gratitude and joy, just that we're alive and we have arms and legs and sight, we're millionaires already. That's a full bank account right there. You know, anything else is just extra. So let's think of that, and let's have a great show, because I can't wait for Michelle to start speaking her truth.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So you're typing, good morning, Erica Balajara, Ana Laura, Iritza, Carmen Nieves.
Carmen Nieves. Desiree is on.
Desiree, good morning, beautiful.
So let's, so you have the intention for today, and I have the mantra. And Francia, good morning, Francia is on.
Yes, Francia.
So what's the intention? And then we'll get Michelle on.
The intention is what we were just talking about, gratitude. Be the gardener of your crop and plant kindness and gratitude, and focus on growth, and let it become your path. So I don't know, I have it as, I am the gardener of my crop. I will focus on kindness and gratitude, for it is my path. Did you get it?
Yes.
I'm cutting in and out. I'm sorry. There's no one else.
You were steady. You were steady. You might have thought on your end, but you were steady the whole time.
Yeah, so my thing is freezing.
No worries. Nope, you're good. As long as the voice is coming. Sometimes the video isn't as stable. Well, we know that because that's what happened when I was in one of my locations. So,
and the important. I'm sorry, but the importance when I say about be the gardener of your crop, because it's so easy for us to blame our partner, our parents, our job, and enough. If we stop complaining and focus, then our garden will be bountiful, because it's at the end of the day, it's only what you put into your life. Start. Mary Kay, God, me, everyone else. And if you stick to that simple chain of command, life will be beautiful.
Good morning, Tiffany Bryan. She's been so quiet lately. She just pops in and she doesn't say good morning. So we miss you, love. We haven't, we see you coming on, but unless we're looking down, we don't know for sure. So
good morning, Tiffany.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. And so, okay, so the mantra is that gratitude, I am powerful with gratitude. Always remember that. I am powerful with gratitude. That is the mantra for this morning. And good morning, Michelle Houston. So we're glad that you're here. And let's get our other, our guest on, the other Michelle. So talking about energy, and because now it's time, because this is what we're going to do today, tribe. The goal today is to make sure that we all pull our energy up very, very powerfully collectively this morning. For Gladiator Guru's trip. This is going to be a real challenging trip for her for Connecticut. So we need to throw a lot of love and positive energy her way. For me, on my way home, which I'll be home on Saturday night, but then there's a big shift that's about to happen when I get back. So, and for everybody out there that's going through something or is connecting with, if you're connecting with other people and you need to spread the energy can be, you can drain your own energy. So the goal today is to just all work together to collectively build up our energy. And with that, we will bring on our guest. Welcome, Michelle in the house.
Buenos dias.
Michelle. So
Buenos
welcome.
dias.
Michelle.
Can you hear me? Okay? Am I coming through well?
Yes.
You are beautiful. Yep. And nice and early for you, right? Because you're, what are you, 3 hours behind? You in Arizona, right?
It is. I'm actually in El Paso, Texas, so it's 2 hours.
Okay.
Are you getting echo?
Nope.
A little one.
A little one? Okay. I thought I heard one. Let me see here. Let me see if I can.
I don't hear it on my end. It's not too bad, but usually if we mute when one person's talking, that usually gets rid of that.
Okay.
But I do love, so Michelle she is the CEO of visionboardmusic.org, but my favorite is that she also is the CSEE -E-O. I love
The CEO, because it's all about where you said it earlier, Doc. You said, where you focus your energy is where it's going to go. Wherever you focus is where your energy is going to go. So it's just so important for us to be very conscious about what we're looking at. You ever seen the little, of course, the little see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I've gotten a new understanding of that. And what used to be, I used to think that meant like just to kind of turn a blind eye. But no, what that's saying is just to be very conscious of what you're consuming. Whatever information we're consuming, what we're eating, what we're watching, and what we're listening to, because that begins to make up who we are. Like you said, you also said, Doc, that we're all energy. So everything in our experience is going to be what makes us up in the 3D, I think,
And the funny part is, for years, I mean, I've been around the woo-woo stuff. I love to say it because I just laugh about it, right? Because it's not woo-woo anymore. People don't think it's woo anymore. But back in the day, I'm talking like late 80s, I was around all that stuff. I was exposed to all that stuff. And I'm blessed for that exposure. But it was back then when people like said, oh, it's just, they're tree huggers, they're hippie people, they're blah, blah, blah. And it's weirdos and blah, and whatever. And because there was no science behind it, and now there is science behind it. And the thing is that when somebody says, even to this day, when people say, oh, that energetic stuff, that energetic healing, energy, blah, 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 that's all BS. Really? Because we are literally energy. Like we are, when you break us down and you break a cell down, it goes down to a molecule, and then you break down a molecule. It's literally energy. So how can you say that that's BS? And then especially for those of us, listen, for those of you out there, have you ever walked into a room and you didn't even say anything? Nobody said anything to you, and you walked in and it hit you, and you're like, damn, like what was that? Like, what is that? And you feel it. And sometimes it could be a good energy. Sometimes it could be a bad energy, but you feel it before anything is even said. You're not even looking at people. It's not like you're looking at going, oh, they look like they're pissed off. It's just you walk in and you're like, oh.
Well, they even have the MEGs nowadays. The magnetic, the EEGs, where they used to have to put stuff on your head. Yeah. And now they have the actual. They just have like a big machine where you stick your head. It doesn't even touch you and can read you. So that's like how much we project, right?
I know. Yes. So you wanted to call this. You titled this of sound. So there's that expression of sound mind. We say, are you of sound mind? And you said of sound mind, body, and spirit. So talk to the tribe about this. Tell them what you do and about all that.
Sure. Yes. So I'm just happy to be with both of you ladies anyways, because it's just a blessing to be amongst other people who are understanding and taking responsibility, I think, for what is being created in the world today, because it's all of our responsibilities. And so my what really is my responsibility and my mission is to make sure that every voice gets to be heard. That's our belief, and every purpose fulfilled. And so we understand that as our human power is that we're co-creators in this life experience. So we are very much integral to what plays out and how this experience is colored and illustrated and created for our senses. And so that being said, what we get to realize is that sound creates worlds. Because I started thinking about it, because I'm a musician, I'm a singer-songwriter. And so I love to use music to help people to get into a healing place, because that's one thing. I mean, the beautiful thing of that, like something you can do, Doc, on your way home, play some music, have some fun with your kids, find some good music, maybe share some music that they haven't heard before. it can be an experience in it in of itself, may help them to open up their minds. I can share some with you that you can share with them, but it's things like that that can create those moments that bring people into the current space and time, and actually within the time frame of a song to be completed can shift your energy, like you were saying, can take you from that low energy to that high energy. So and I think that kids, it's surprising what songs that they like. I don't know how old your kids are, Lori, but it's funny that sometimes it's surprising what songs that they like from back in the day, and you're like, what, you don't even know anything about that, but remember,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like my kids and my grandkids love freestyle from the 80s. Judy Torres, Noel, Stevie B, Spring Love. Like that has trickled down from generation.
That's on my playlist too. Yeah.
And so when I hear my grandkids singing it, and it's like my daughter's good. My son loves it, but he's like, by the time they start singing, I done washed 3 loads of clothes. But it's just a beat that will take you out of every funk. I wrote a piece, how music is life. I go to music for everything. No matter what, if I'm confused, if I'm sad, if I'm in pain, I listen to that rip your heart out type of music, because that tightens me up. Because I'm allowing it. So I truly believe in that. I truly believe in that.
Absolutely. And we do get to allow it first. I love that, freestyle forever. Yes. And that's what's interesting. And this is kind of a side note, but the main popular music of today and the beats and the messaging is just so it's not as empowering as that music was back in the day. Never thought I'd be the one to say that, but Monday was my birthday. I'm 40 years old.
Michelle, that's remember back at the music today. I mean, oh my God, our parents used to say stuff.
I know. I realized that. I think I'm going to see. No, that's not working out either.
I remember the second video on what was the Michael Jackson was the second video. In the 80s. What is it? The video, the first videos segment they were playing.
Thriller. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
And then Pat Benatar. I love Pat Benatar. Battlefield. I mean, those are my go-to. Sheer. Those are my go-tos when I'm
that high energy.
For anything, like if I want to rip a throat out, or if I just want to put some socks on with little fluffy balls that cuddle up. I go to the old school music that knew my spirit, that and I'm going to be 53, that I can listen to it and it comforts my soul. So I love that. It's garbage nowadays, my son-in-law said. It really is. So yeah, keep talking about music, because I totally agree with you.
Well, the thing is that, so I say of sound, mind, body, and spirit, to your point, because we get to be conscious of, again, what we are consuming, what we're listening to. So, and we really have the opportunity to, we want to connect, and we get to really express our emotions. So I love how, like, for you, Margarita, music will allow you to really pull all that out and really be able to feel the feelings. But then at the same time, it's like we also want to be sure not to get too stuck in that, and also to shift out of that. But you can use music to do that too. So you can almost have like a regimen, a process, like, okay, so for 25 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm going to listen to this music that's really going to get me into that spirit and energy of feeling my feelings, because that's important. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and turn to this style of music so I can get into a higher energy. What do you think about, how do you feel about that?
I do that every morning. I would get up. I listen to jazz first thing in the morning. And then when I would,
great. something nice and smooth and just
Cody. I mean, just
ease you into the day.
Strawberry Hill, yeah. So I had a routine. With my mom, I would get her up. I'm playing jazz as I'm showering her. And then when she's sitting down having breakfast, then it was, you know, our old school music, our salsa, you know, Mark Anthony and all that. And then I would dance for her, which would be like my 30 exercise with it. And then she'd want to hear her Mexican Vicente Fernandez, but that would like get her down because now I had her worked up while I'm playing all this salsa and stuff. And yeah, it just, my playlist goes from all of that, you know. I have a gypsy spirit, so I love listening to guitar music and so that has to be a part of my day because it reminds me of who the hell I am. So it's just like, so yeah, music, I'm telling you, music is life. It's the first thing I do when I get in the car. It's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning. When I don't do it, I feel like a little lost. But I think that if you find the perfect music to comfort your spirit, that's you feeding your spirit in the morning.
Absolutely.
Right after your gratitude, right after you thanking the Lord for another day of life and being grateful that you can swing your legs over and stand on them, then I think that, you know, because that's what I do. You know, you exercise, you feel your legs, you do everything. So,
that's right.
So you speaking today to everybody on here about that. My son and I, exactly what I do. I start off with jazz, and I think that because that's an important part.
It is.
So I don't mean to interrupt you.
No. This is that's why I was like asking you on top and getting your feedback because it's important that we feed ourselves. It's important, and that's a big part of gratitude. What better way, you know, when you are intentional about your day? It's something that I'm starting to learn a lot about, ladies, that I love is, you know, when we are focusing on taking our businesses to the next level. You know, or be, you know, taking our expertise and our service to mankind to the next level. It's something that
womankind.
So that's right, to womankind. That's right, to humankind.
Humankind. You know? That's even better.
And not, you know, actually bigger than that, just to Mother Earth. And every living species, you know, because we're the stewards of them all. And it's like when we take that responsibility, we get to really understand that it's going to take a different kind of routine. It's going to take having a circadian rhythm. You know, I'm sure I know you know all about that with alignments and you know, chiropractic. Those are very important things. That we are in sync with the natural rhythm of things, a natural rhythm, you know, I mean, there we go again, you know, that's how, when we really start to relate to the world as the vibrational universe that it is, and we understand that there are rhythms to things, there's cycles, you know, there's different ways to experience and to get on a frequency to resonate, different things resonate. You know, all of that is sound verbiage, you know,
everything and connecting. And I when I do I'm very spiritual. I grew up in spirituality. So I'm very aligned with my ancestors. So there's different sounds. Like when I was in Puerto Rico, the waves, the water, that sound of that. That's connecting to my ancestors. You know, the congas, just a certain rhythm and beat of ashe, you know? And so when people listen to that noise, like I don't care, that techno shit, that hard rock, I mean, it holds no, like, it's just like drinking like dirty water, right? Like, the noise bothers my spirit. Like I really can't hear it. Like that white noise when the rate goes too low, that bothers my spirit.
Yeah.
That vibration, there's certain vibrations where I cannot allow myself to absorb because it bothers me. It puts me in a bad headspace. And just when I hear it, it like does something to my body. So the frequencies are, you have to vibrate at your frequency. And a lot of people don't take the time out to learn, what is my frequency? What are the sounds that ignite that energy in me that's going to make me connect with things I do not see, but that my spirit knows? And that's where we need to take the time out for ourselves and learn that about us. Don't just go through life, say, oh, I like that song, I like that song. Why? How does it make you feel?
And, speaking of energy too, so let's go like even beyond, so if music has an energy and it has a rhythm and it can change a person's, how they feel, like not their emotions. I mean, like how they interact with their world, right? So it can calm them down. It can make them aggressive, when we look at it on a bigger picture though, on a grander scale, everything emits energy. And so the electronics that we have around us emit energy. And, the one thing I've been observing since this whole pandemic thing, people talk about the depression and the anxiety people were having during 2020, during the pandemic. But honestly, what I've observed is more energy shifting since 2021 started. And including myself, like I was actually doing really well in 2020. In 2021, I got hit with a lot of shifts energetically where I was heading, I felt it like literally heading back towards a depressive state, which I haven't had in years. And I just, I think that there is definitely negative energy flowing, like free flowing through the world. And we've really, really got to acknowledge that, and we've got to do something about it. First we start with ourselves. Part of it is protecting ourselves, acknowledging that it's there, finding ways to protect ourselves. Like Gladiator Guru was saying, part of it could be music, listening to stuff that serves you so that you cleanse your spirit. But also the sounds of nature. She's talking about being at the beach. I was at a huge waterfall and all you hear is the water flowing, and sitting outside, hearing birds chirping or whatever, there's definitely a collective. And if we're not careful, we are just going to get more and more, violent, in our ways. And you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if anybody saw the movie. Oh God, I'm going to forget the name of it. It was an English movie. It was, oh God, what's the name of it? He was a secret agent. And he became, I don't remember the name of it, but, Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and he was a bad guy. And he was this like crazy, very intelligent guy that created a satellite. And if anybody remembers the name of it, please put it in there. It was something secret agent or something, whatever. And he created this thing where everybody had this phone app, and they turned it on through the satellite, and everybody got really violent and started killing each other. Like just, and he wanted to wipe out all the loser people, quote, loser people. And he gave this special thing so that the people who paid could survive. What is the name of that movie? But I looked at that and I said, oh my God, like how?
I don't know. That sounds awesome. I mean, it sounds like a great.
Yeah, it sounds like
it was the first part of the 2-part sequel, but there's 2 parts to the movie. But that was the first part. That was I can't remember. If somebody remembers the name, just put it in there. But it's and it's the guy. It's the kid, the actor that was in the Elton John movie. He played Elton John. I don't know. So that actor was the.
I didn't watch that movie.
Yeah, I
connecting to movies like
familiar.
It does sound familiar.
That's our reality.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because again, it's like we're all experiencing a different reality right now because the algorithm, what I'm saying? So once again, it's like whatever we are looking into, whatever it is that we are focusing on, the algorithm is picking up on that and pushing that story out. So again, it's like we get to understand that we have much more power each and every individual one of us about what trends on earth. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so, but we must be conscious. And so that's where, you know, if you don't mind, I'd love to share, you know, if I'm sure you all are familiar, of course, with the law of attraction. Many people are, that have watched this. So I would like to share a few tips on how to be more conscious about the way that we're showing up in the world, whenever that is, you know, best for the timing of the show. I just wanted to make sure that I toss that out there, because I truly believe in our power, not only in our power to be to be one of the narrators of how this whole thing plays out, because that's our responsibility and our birthright and our power, but also we can do, not only can we do that, but the universe, you know, the way I look at it, I'm very spiritual too. I look at it that, you know, the universe is a delivery tool. Now, who you talk to deliver whatever you get or when you see, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But the universe is going to deliver how it's going to put you on the wavelength that you're vibrating on. So when you look around and you see where you are in your life, personally, professionally, you know, intimately, you look around, that's what you've been broadcasting. That's just the bottom line as far as that goes, you know, especially if you're watching this today, you know, I mean, we can go deep and say, you know, what about the unfortunate people here or there? And yes, there are unfortunate people, which means that we get to be even more conscious of how we are showing up and using our energy and connecting so that we can impact more people and bring and raise everyone's vibration, because we can do that. You know, we can't help what's happening to the child to the unfortunate people everywhere, but we can be conscious enough to raise our vibration and to be paying attention and to be making sure that we are lifting everyone up in our community, in our reach that's right in front of us, because then it will be a ripple effect. And that's how we help the person over there. We don't help them by being commentators, because guess what? Our voices are very powerful, and worlds are created by what we say. So if we're just commentating on our opinion on stuff, we're not helping anyone. We're actually keeping that not so merry-go-round conversation of doom going. Do you understand? Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wanted to just offer, this has been very supportive to me, understanding the law of attraction, because I think a lot of people feel like, hey, you know, they understand. If you've seen The Secret or any of those law of attraction, Abraham Hicks, you know, a lot of times people say, hey, you know, it's ask, believe, and receive. However, I would like to help you just think of it a little bit more consciously and a little bit more intentionally. And I would like to invite you to ask, then believe. And the believing part has a caveat in it, and there's a healing piece that comes with believing. Because when you ask for something, there will inevitably be an emotion within you, which emotions are energy too. Emotions are a vibration. You know what I'm saying? So like when you're upset, you're feeling some type of way. You're feeling your heart beating faster. You're feeling your rhythms getting off. You know, when you're scared, when you're anxious, all of those things are your body's telling you that you're not believing something. You know what I'm saying? You're not at peace. So why is that? So when you ask, I look at it in a circular fashion, which is the way that sound is visualized. And really a lot of things in our universe are visualized as circles or spheres or cycles, you know. So when you ask and you believe, and that feeling comes, that's a discord, that's showing you that you're not believing something. What that is, in my experience, what that is an opportunity to heal something. Something is coming up that's telling you that you have a limiting belief that is not in alignment with what you're asking for. And so what I found is that when I say open my heart, you put this is Dr. Greg Braden says, he's a great doctor. And in my opinion, I just love his heart and mind coherent teachings. So he'll say, put your hand on your heart, breathe slow, so that, because you're telling your body that you're safe. You're saying, I am safe. You put your hand on your heart, because where your focus is, your energy goes. So when you put your hand on your heart, you're allowing all of your body to understand that you're safe. And then you breathe slow so that you can get that fight or flight kind of energy to subside. And then what I've done to add to that is I will say, open your heart to myself, open your heart. And then I will ask myself why this emotion came up. I'll put the emotion on something inanimate. Let's just say this card or something. And I'll be like, emotion, why are you here? And I'll set it down, because inevitably something is coming up that you get to heal. And so that's why I look at a lot of times we think of the ask, believe, and receive as a linear process, but it's not. It's a circular process. And the circular process it's because when something comes up that makes you realize that you do not believe in what you're asking, it's like, please tell me, show me what I get to heal. And in my experience, it never is 24 hours later to where something comes up to heal that had usually nothing to do with the current situation. It's something that I've pulled from my past, but it requires us to be conscious, because when we're conscious, we will actually recognize the opportunity to heal something. But if we're not conscious, what happens is we brush those opportunities off, or we're stuck in the future, we're stuck in the past, and we're not there to actually take advantage of the opportunity to clear our energy so that we can be better receivers. So instead of saying ask, believe, receive, I say ask, believe, heal, and adjust your receiver, because the healing process is a constant adjustment of the receiver so that you can really embody and embrace the art of allowing and allow the blessings into your life. It's a very conscious effort. And I love what Gladiator Guru said. I love what you said. You said that God, self, and everybody else. But so when we are consciously clearing our own things that get to be healed, we see the God in everyone else. The more and more we do that, the less that we are judgmental, and the more we can focus on seeing the God in everyone else, and then getting on the same page and on the same vibration, which is love, which is what we all should be reaching for. And the highest vibration is love, which is above. And it's like, amen, I know that's right. The highest vibration is what we all get to go. There's nobody that has to be left behind. No child left behind, or no person, no energy left behind.
And that's why I love as above, so below, because who is better than anyone? And if you reach where you are at a good vibrational space that feeds your spirit and protects your soul, then if you're above, then teach below. And that's how that circular healing and accepting and just being in gratitude and joy comes into existence. We come up here and then we look down like they better get it because it took me. And it's not. It's as above, so below. And I love those two little sentences because it's a spinning. It's not here and here. And that's how people view life. And I think exactly what you're saying. It is a circular. I actually have a postcard that's sold very successful that I drew and I wrote words, and it's exactly that. It has the tears and the laughter and the pain and the joy and the suffering. And so it has all the words because That's the balance of the universe. And people need to acknowledge that. And, you know, you just reminded me of that card because I looked at it 2 weeks ago and I said, oh, I got to start doing more with that because I sold out my first 50 sets like in 30 minutes when I put them up years ago. But then we forget who we are sometimes, right?
Exactly.
So
we forget what works, don't we?
Thank you for reminding me of that. And because that is the beauty. And if we go through our day when we learn something or we lose something, if that vibration came low, but if we live in as above, so below, I am you, you are me, that's, you know, always a higher power, my God, myself, and then everyone else, then I'll have the energy. That's why I taught my children, it's okay to be selfish. Be selfish with your time. Accomplish what you need to accomplish for you so that then you can be selfless in assisting everyone around you. Like that, you're treating yourself out of where you need to be as a life, as a spirit, because we're all born into this world with a purpose, although we forget. And being selfish and clearing that path towards your purpose is the selfish part, which isn't bad at all. But it's saying, no, I don't want to go out. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to this party. No, thank you. The beach sounds good, but I'm doing me right now. Maybe next time when I'm done with the project of me. And so you must be to connect and vibrate to then be selfless and give without judgment and give without expectations of receiving back.
That's right.
Yeah, because so I encourage the tribe to look this up. If you go online, you'll find this illustration of a cone of vibration, and it starts off with it goes upward like this, and it lists all the emotions that along the side of it, and the lower the vibration, like shame and anger and all that stuff, it's at the bottom of the cone, and then you expand upward, and it shows the frequencies associated with the each one, and so the goal is to stay like from halfway up the cone and above. And the interesting thing is that when you are in a place of love and gratitude and joy, the way the brain works, you can't have hate and envy and all these other things. They don't simultaneously sit there, and so if you notice, if you watch the news enough, okay, which I don't, you should watch it a little bit, I guess, just so that you know what's going on. But all these media outlets are there to show the negative piece, and it puts us all into a state. And when we're in those states, so like Michelle was talking about, is the state of fight or flight. When you're in those states, you are all about survival. There's no creativity. You can't exist in the same framework. So we are automatically heightened, and we're like, we're vigilant and sometimes hyper vigilant, right? So we can't, I'm telling you, it is purposeful. It is very purposeful. This is done on purpose, because the more fear that people have in them, the lower their energy, the more they're manipulated. And we also dehumanize people. And that is the scariest piece here, because dehumanization in the world is going to collapse the world. When you dehumanize somebody, you say, oh, it's okay to, they mean nothing. And listen, I got to tell you, I don't watch TV a lot, but since I've been on this trip, sometimes at the end I'm so tired and I'll put the TV on. And so was it last night? Yeah, last night I watched a movie. Oh my God. It's called, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's called Good Lies. And it's a fictional story, but it took place in, I think it was 2003 or something like that. And it was about this Sudanese refugees. And I was bawling like so bad, because they were literally like this band of children whose village was all the adults were killed off, and they all were traveling. Some of these kids walked 750 miles, barefoot. But this one scene where these soldiers just come and literally all of a sudden these groups said, I don't know, we shouldn't go further. I feel it's dangerous. We need to cross the river here. They get ready to cross, and all these kids that were in front of them in line that went forward, their bodies start floating down the river. And in my head, I'm going, this is so, I know it's a fictional movie, but it's based on truth. And in my head, I'm going, this happens all the time. Everywhere across the world, this happens. And the only way that this happens is we have to dehumanize people. You can't sit there and love somebody and then shoot them. You can't, even when people say, oh, there was a crime of passion, that wasn't a crime of passion and love. That was the low energy spectrum. That was jealousy. That was inadequacy, So the only way for us to, like Michelle's saying, is we have to change our energy, changes the energy around us. And now more than ever, we have to shift our energy, because for those of you that are very, I use the term empathic lightly. Some people are true empaths, they feel it, but some people just are energetically connected. They don't necessarily feel that they're empathic, whoever you are out there, if you're feeling it and you're pulling back because you're like, holy crap, this is really doesn't feel good to me. Protect yourself. Ground yourself, and then get the hell out there and throw out your light, because we need it. We all need it. So everybody here that listens to this, the three of us here, it's up to us, because we know better. So, right, just like Maya Angelou said, once you know better, you do better. And so we've got to, even though it's hard sometimes, when those moments where your energy is low, because we all have it, it's draining, then we have to go back and we have to recharge our battery, and we have to make the effort to do that.
And do it all without lying to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Oh, I'm doing this because of this. I'm feeling. Don't lie. No te engañes, because that's what we've had many discussions on this. It all starts with being real with who you are. And Yala Van Zandt wrote in Yesterday I Cried, you have to get comfortable in your now, in a tub with your scent. And you need to go back to yesterday. You need to clean up the crap in order for you to have clarity today. And I read that book in the 90s, and it's always still with me. And I've read it a couple times afterwards, because it's the truth. Healing is not, this, you want to go out and dance or anything. Healing is painful. It's not for the faint of heart. It's work. It's work. When I tell my story, there are no emotions attached to it, because that is no longer my story. It is something.
It's just a story. Yeah, it's just a story.
So right. Because that's not part of it, but because you gotta clean the crap up from yesterday in order to see your path today, and it's about loving yourself enough through the process. And you know what? It's going to be shitty sometimes. You're gonna want to tell people to fuck off. It's gonna be a lot of realities, but if you need to tell people, leave me the hell alone because you need that me time, then damn it, you owe it to yourself to get that me time and connect with the only person that can heal you.
That's yourself. Right. And that's what Michelle was saying when you said adjust your receiver. I love that, because when you say ask, believe, receive, sometimes people, like, this is one of the challenges that I've had to deal with. I'm not a great receiver. Not that I don't I can say, like, I'm a giver. And so receiving is always just, am I worthy? All that stuff comes up. So you have to adjust your receiver, because you're receiving, you're not just receiving whatever, you receive anything. So you'll receive the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you have to adjust and say, you know what, I'm open to receiving the good, the positive. And for the negative that's coming towards me, I've got to learn to create a barrier so that I can protect myself from receiving that. But you still need to see it. You need to have it there, because like you Gladiator Guru, you always said this, you cannot know the light unless you've been in the dark. You cannot know the bad unless you can't understand the good unless you've seen the bad. You can't know the beauty unless you've been around the ugly. And I'm not saying it by looks. I'm talking about spirit. So absolutely, right? You've got to be. You can't hide from it, but you do have to, like Gladiator Guru was saying, you have to take those moments and you have to give yourself and honor yourself that time to, reboot, recharge, collect yourself, fix yourself, deal with the past, not stay in the past, but deal with the past, fix it, and then move forward. And it's a process. It's not overnight.
But life is a process, and if you don't fix it, your future is going to end up finding out the truth about your past. So don't lie to yourself, because it's going to hit you like, oh my God, what? That didn't happen. So, and it's in my mission with my business, with Cricket's Whisper. Everything it says about Cricket's Whisper, but it says, that we need to learn to silence the noise and seek the whisper of hope, because we all have it. But we got to seek it. We got to want to seek it and stop putting up excuses. If I ate something I didn't supposed to eat, I ate it, damn it, because I chose to pick it up and put it in my mouth. And we've all done that. And when you're on vacation, that's the worst time. No. It doesn't matter how hard you try, but then those sorullos en la palguera in Puerto Rico is just like calling out my name. They called me and I just fell. And I said,
but hey, like you said, at least you will know, acknowledge, don't put the blinders on and then wonder why you're feeling like shit or like crap the next day,
I mean, shit is fine on this show.
Shit, So and I think what you're saying, I know we're getting over the time and everything, but if I could just offer a couple things, I think that'll be really also very helpful in this climate, because there's people, we have to remember that we as the normal human beings, I should say, people, we're so afraid of what these, what the people in control, quote unquote, are doing, and nobody, we don't trust each other. We don't trust anyone anymore. We as people, as our friends and family, we're not each other's enemy. We're not the bad guy. So if we can just figure out how to realize that, because if we can say to ourselves, I believe that everyone is doing the best they can with this crazy shit that's going on this planet right now. I believe that these people here feel like they're doing this to do the best for their family. And I believe that these people over here are doing what they feel is the best to protect their family with what they understand. And I believe that if we're all just more responsible and we're more present in our energy and consciously creating our future as individuals, what we want to see, not commenting on what we're seeing, but we get to go above that, like you said, Gladiator Guru, go above that, go further into meditation, create the world in the quantum field,
yes,
that we wish to see, and then just look at everyone here and just remember that everyone's doing the best they can with the information they have. And
well,
if we can,
but I have to interrupt here because, and the only reason, see, that sometimes is an excuse for people though, because we have to look beyond. That's the thing. And like you were saying, you have to look beyond. We have information at the touch of a button, like anything that pops in our head, what's the recipe for Swedish pickles? I don't know, and you just look it up, and it's there. So when people sit there and say, I don't know, or I didn't know that, it's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of misinformation.
A lot of misinformation too.
The algorithms are delivering people information based on what they're looking for. So when I say that, I don't mean to absolve people of the truth. It's just that we do get to recognize that there's a lot of different truths too. That's
absolutely correct. Yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt.
They have to listen to our truth.
Yeah.
And and I used to vibrate at that level before because I'm very opinionated, and
I am too. But it doesn't serve
exactly. And that, you know, as much as I love it, but that I didn't get to finish. That is a quote from my favorite author, Paulo Coelho, and it's the future. The future will find out. Will always find out about your past unless you face it. So that's the quote, and it's by Paulo Coelho. I'm a writer, so I don't take anyone else's quote. I like my own quotes. But that is beautiful. Let me tell you, I read Paulo. I own every one of his books except the latest one, The Archer. A lot of people don't like him. I love his fiction. It just takes me.
He's the alchemist?
Yes.
Okay.
He just takes me somewhere like I'm an eagle soaring high through his storytelling. So he does well for my vibrations. His stories do very well for me. And if you find an author like that, stick with them, because, you know, that's where it's at. But I agree. So everybody has their truth, you know. But I also agree with the badass Buddha that sometimes ignorance is bliss to some people. Well, and then they want to say and do whatever the fuck they want. And then they're like, I didn't know. But discernment has to come in at that time for each and every one of us.
And the only reason the reason I say that is to get people out of that not so merry-go-round circular conversation that's not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Because it's like when you're dealing with someone whose narcissistic traits are coming to the fore, and I'm not saying everyone's a NPD, and I don't toss that term around at all lightly, but everyone has narcissistic traits. But when you're having conversations where people's narcissistic traits are heightened, there's no real good way to have a true conversation, because their focus is going to be to assert control and to gain fuel from you. So if that's what their focus is, then you can't have there's no point. I mean, you could have a CIA document and then it's, well, I don't trust the government. I mean, what do? You know, how can you get, there's just a certain point where people are they're just gonna believe what they believe. And
absolutely. And that's what I said.
Well, they just are doing the best they can. But I think if this is where our own personal consciousness comes in, because if we are present and we are healing our stuff and we are really fully engaged in our experience and in healing ourselves, then everything will show up different. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? My point is that then we're creating the truth and the environment for love and the truth. And when we create that environment, then we don't have to argue with somebody. That's what
I love you. And you're absolutely 1,000% correct. Up until a year ago, my kids would say, where's the Margie we grew up with? You need to bring her back because you wouldn't have tolerated that. And I'm like, she's in the back seat. She'll show up when it's absolutely necessary. But I'm at such a place that people can say something to me and I'm like, do you need a hug? Because I'm not that sticky paper anymore. And I'm choosing my battles very wisely. And lately I haven't really had any battles. Now that's not to say that I'm not watching and I'm not observing and I'm not having all my spiritual guides attending to my gate to know when it's time to unlock it and kick somebody out. I'm not saying that that's not happening, because we also got to remove what's not, feeding us. But I'm more at peace. That vibrational energy that I've acquired, it's not about correcting anybody anymore. Now about my name, my name's always going to be to my last breath. But it's not about, somebody got a problem with me, that's you, boo. That ain't me. I know who I am. I love me. So if you got a problem with me, unless we're going to address it, then I don't. So it's about focusing on my growth and my legacy for my grandkids. And it's about getting to where I need to get to without stepping on anybody, but bringing, if I eat, you eat mentality. If I eat and you want to steal my plate, then go ahead, have it. Because wherever I came and created this from, where this idea came from, you can have this one because you're not creative. But I have 10 more coming in a heartbeat. So I don't fight over that anymore either. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not threatened by anybody. What's mine is mine is mine. And if I keep my energy and my vibrations where they need to be, I might get delayed, but it doesn't mean I'm not showing up.
Well, and that goes completely with what Michelle was saying. And if we are, so to protect us, so you brought up such really great points. To protect us from information overload, like we do the best we can with the information that we have. Okay, but if you come from a place like this, so check this out. This is the peace, love, joy, and acceptance are the highest vibrational states, with the utmost highest vibrational state being enlightenment. But if you ask yourself anything that you do throughout your day and you say, does it bring me peace? Is it loving? Is it joyful to me? And is it accepting? Because acceptance means no judgment. And that's a big piece right there. So if you question yourself every single day with those things, do I feel peaceful with what I'm saying, what I'm doing, how I'm responding to my environment? Is it coming from a loving place? Am I joyful? And am I accepting? Because that's what Gladiator Guru was basically saying. It's like, if we just, even that piece alone, if we learn to accept people as they are, and then if, without judgment, okay, like who are we to say? That is an energy right there. But we do know that there are some people that are out there that are bad. And yes, that's a judgment, but we just see what they're doing. So if we say, okay, I'm just going to throw out love and light to them. And for those out there going, oh, well, you're going to do that, and then like they're going to rob you. It's like, no, we're not stupid. I mean, listen, that's the other piece here. You could be energetically very, very grounded, but doesn't mean you're dumb and like walking around and like in the middle of the night in a really crazy bad neighborhood going, please, here I am. It's awareness. It's about saying, listen, I feel this is what I'm radiating out. And by the law of attraction, if I radiate this out, then if I radiate good, and I believe in the possibility of good and really believe it, then those bad things tend not to come around, And so you don't look, I've been on the road for 3 weeks. Could bad things have happened? Absolutely. We hit some bad neighborhoods a couple of times just because when we were getting off to get gas or whatever. But I mean, I didn't judge it. I looked at it and said, well, this potentially could be. So you just become more vigilant. You're more aware. But that didn't stop me from saying hello to people. That didn't stop me from doing what I needed to do. I didn't say, oh my God, this looks like a really bad neighborhood. Let me drive somewhere else. I exuded it off me, but I didn't exude it off me like this and go, oh, I'm just a love ball. I'm like looking around, okay, aware, So, but if you keep those in mind, peace, love, joy, acceptance, right there, that's going to help you be more open-minded and bring in information that you could say, that information sounds good, but let me see if there's any other information over here that backs that up, and then it helps me choose the person that I want to be. Because the people that are doing the bad things never come from a place of joy. They're not coming, unless they're narcissistic, because then they get joy off of that crap, but like being bad, but they're not coming from a place of peace, and definitely not acceptance, for sure.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even call it joy. I mean, the narcissistic people, they're getting energy, but it's not joyful.
With them, they might believe it's joyful to be horrible to somebody, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I agree with you.
They're miserable. But so I think more to your point, it says in the Bible, and it's not to push any one, religion over the other, but I just think it's very telling. That Jesus said it very simply, and I just bring it up because it's just simple. He even said it doesn't even mean, he said you can sin and blaspheme in so many ways, but the Holy Ghost you cannot blaspheme against, but the Son of Man you can, and you'll be forgiven. He said, but and that what I see that as the spirit of goodness. That's what he's saying. He was just saying simply the spirit of goodness you cannot take out of stuff. And because then he goes on to say in that same little parable, he says, if you have a tree If it's an evil tree, it's going to produce evil fruits. If you have a righteous tree, it's going to produce righteous fruits. The tree of life versus the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So if we are so focused on what's right, good and evil, no, let's just choose life. Let's choose everyone gets to live. Everyone gets to prosper. That's the tree of life. Not the tree of good and evil says you're doing it wrong, or everything sucks and it's going to be your fault. That does not serve anyone. You know what I'm saying? So let's be good people. Let's be good people who wishes the best for the world. I feel like there's so many people that almost want the worst for the world so they could say, I told you so. Like, that's not a way to live. Like, let's pray the best for everyone and think, hey, everyone's done the best they can, whether if they got vaccine because they may have had experiences that felt like they needed to get vaccine. If they didn't, it's because the governments in different places have lied so much, no one knows what to believe. So just know that people just feel that everyone's doing the best they can. Don't be judgmental. Do the best you can and show up and show love and be responsible.
That's it. That's all we gotta do. And that's a little handbag. It's not even a big luggage you gotta carry to spread that every day. It's a little thing that carries your wallet and for me my pack of cigarettes. And
I love that. So that's not even a luggage. That's right.
So and everybody can handle that throughout the day, all day, every day. So that was beautiful.
Yes.
We needed to hear. It's so funny because the badass Buddha and I were talking about this when I was in Puerto Rico. It's just everything. So this is confirmation that my path has already been paved, and I'm where I'm supposed to be moving forward. And the badass Buddha, because we had an in-depth conversation just about this, the laws of attraction, because she's very versed in it. I grew up in it. I just grew up doing it. When I read The Secret, I was like, oh my God, I've been on this path all along. Why did I let, stupidity come in?
That's right.
That's because I grew up in spirituality, because God is a God of spirit. So, and I believe in my spiritual guides, and I believe in, and I believe in the voices of that's it. So, yeah, this was excellent.
Thank you so much. We went over. It was so good that we went over. Yeah.
Thank you. Hopefully we all feel a little bit more energized about our trip and about our day and about how we're going to move forward today in the world. And, like we can, all we got to do is just remember, like you said, Gladiator Guru, who we are. Remember who we are. Remember the tools at our disposal, and remember that everything is an opportunity to be energized. So it's been a blessing. Thank you so much. You've been a blessing to me.
Yes, it's been a blessing to me. Thank you. And to everybody who stayed on over, that's how I just had to leave. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Michelle, if they all stood this late, they loved what you had to say. They loved your energy. Yeah. And what I'm going to say is our energies together was fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I thank you, ladies.
We got to do this more often.
We do, Michelle. I want you to be in August. I start my Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause podcast. So I would love for you to be on. So we'll be in touch. Because me, I'm too busy going all over the place. But
is it okay if I leave in the comments, a way to get in touch with me?
Yeah, I'm posting. You could absolutely. But I also had this, so I've been showing everybody on Facebook and Instagram.
But please, if you want to respond to somebody's comment, when you hang up, you can go back and respond. And
absolutely.
I always love to ask because we should be respectful, just to know and know. But I would love to have you all on our platforms as well. So we'll be in touch, and let's keep this conversation going and see how we can spread it. And because that's really our task at this time. That's the work.
Oh, absolutely agree with you.
Thank you for being patient. I'm so excited. I remember so many months ago when we had our little interview.
I know, it's like months ago.
And how much has changed since then? Just have you all not been through like a whole, you're like a whole new person since just March?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've been through so much healing and growing.
Yeah.
My mom passed away after our interview. It was March.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's why I'm in Connecticut now. We're going to, my sisters and I, we're going to spread her ashes, and the dogs are out, so I gotta go. So
Well, I'm glad you get to be with your family. You all be safe and sound, and let's just keep sharing this love, man. I love you all, and I can't wait to tell more people about you and the good work you all are doing.
Oh yeah, spread the word. Have them sign up and subscribe to the YouTube. The YouTube channel is the one we're pushing the most. So Michelle, thank you so much for coming on. And everybody, so for Tuesday's show, boobs versus bulge with our guest Nicolette Walker Bowman. So we're gonna have a little fun comparing who has more power, the women or the men, and I think we know the answer to that one. So we're gonna make it a power conversation, but a funny and fun one in the way we do. So to everybody that came on today, thank you so much. Everybody have an absolutely fabulous weekend. Gladiator Guru, you got to say anything else before we close out?
No, not at all.
Okay. So from the Badass Buddha and Viva Cafe con Leche, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, remember me, gente, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Have a great weekend.